Hey guys, welcome to the start of another project. Actually, I hope this will turn out to be two simultaneous projects. What we're looking at here is a p1o Predicta debutante model. First time I've ever actually seen one of these up close. Seen all the others I think now except for the Danish Modern, which is the last model they introduced, which shares the same chassis as this, and the Princess and the Siesta, which have one thing in common: they're all cold chassis. They actually have a real power transformer and parallel wired tube filaments rather than the series wired earlier ones. They also have more reliable CRTs. Something else unusual about this one is that it's got the UHF option. Something I haven't encountered before, except in a holiday chassis I picked up, which had a bit of a different knob. I'm not sure if this vernier action's working. The grease may have frozen in. It seems pretty darn stiff. Alright, so this set belongs to the same gentleman that dropped off the pedestal, also known as the barber pole Predicta. This one, just like that one, also is partially functional, and he would like me to fully restore it. So I just turned it on. The power switch seems to be functional. And cosmetically, it's in a really nice condition. It's a little dusty and dirty. Not sure about the color. I know the Princess model was available in maroon, gold, and red, but this appears to be black. And here's what we get. So we have reduced vertical, which is a really common problem in every vintage TV, because typically the cathode bypass electrolytic on the vertical output tube goes bad. Could also be a bad vertical output tube. The other issue is it doesn't seem to really have any reception. Well, the tuner is clearly doing something. Well, what would I be picking up, you're saying to yourself, since analog TV's gone? Well, we do still have Channel 6 in Chicago, a weak over-the-air, quasi-FM radio TV station. Channel 6 is right at the edge of the FM band. It's like 87.7, I think. And the FCC still allows the stations to operate. So that could be a matter of dirty tuner. Seems like the local oscillator is working in the tuner, because it does something when I change the channels, but no video or sound is coming through. It kind of does. Anyways, could be a tuner issue, could be a problem with the IF board or the detector. So I will show you the other set that I propose to work on while I'm working on this one. This is a really good baseline set. As near as I can tell from peering inside, it has not been worked on. We shall see once I get the back off and take a closer look. But before we do, I want to show you the other set I want to work on simultaneously. That would be this guy, which is my Princess set. Also happens to be the second TV I ever got. Second or third, depends how you want to think about it, because I got two sets at the same time off of a Craigslist I had. A blonde Motorola 7-inch VT71 and this TV. But this is really the one I wanted. This is the one that drew me to that ad. So I'll call this my second TV. The first being an RCA 630 TS that I restored a while back. So this was beige, rusty, kind of miserable looking. Since then I repainted it red and basically did some cosmetic work on it. It was missing a channel knob. I found a replacement after many months of searching on eBay. It's not in the greatest condition, but hey, at least it's correct. And I did find an original antenna, which I would like to install, where it's got that plate right now. And I did try working on it. It was actually the first vintage TV I actually tried to restore, but I didn't get very far. Because I realized early on, thankfully, that I wasn't really experienced enough with these sets to really do a proper job. So I just focused on the cosmetics and let this sit for a long time. I'll flash forward, I don't know, 8-9 years now. I got a lot more experience with Predicta, so I feel more confident on working on this. So what did I do? Well, I replaced the electrolytics and a couple of the caps that I could get at from the top, and that's about it. I did get some flicker of light on the CRT a few times, but not steady high voltage, and no reception, no sound. So what I propose to do is restore that set and use it as a model to get this one done, because they should be identical chassis inside the 10L43. They're somewhat similar to the Holiday and pedestal sets and tandem sets you've seen me work on in the past. I think this, they call it the VIF, I think. Yeah, basically the IF board. I think it's identical, or pretty darn near identical. Tuner, I think, is also pretty much identical. But this board is very different. And so it has a power transformer. So it's a larger board, and it does not have any components on the chassis, whereas like the Holiday model has parts scattered all over the chassis. That's a 9L37 chassis. So this is about 1 or 2 year newer design, and it's a better design. Not only does it run cooler because of the power transformer, but it's a little bit more refined on the main board here. For example, they use a selenium AFC diode rather than a tube. And yeah, it has the good old couplets here and there. So what I didn't do before, what I want to do this time around, is pull out this main board. Yeah, you can snip a few of the caps from the top, but I really want to get in there and go over this more thoroughly. So I want to pull out this board. But I'm going to leave this one on the side for now and pull out the other chassis and focus on that set first. So how do you go about taking one of these sets apart? Well, you gotta take the back off. That's the easy part. 1/4 inch nut driver, takes a quick work of that. Masonite back with AC cord on the interlock. And then I gotta pull the knobs. And there'll be some bolts for the chassis underneath, but the real trick is to get the CRT disconnected. Something else I'm noticing this set is that the feet are missing for some reason. Perhaps it's what the owner had, maybe the original stand, although that has cutouts on it for the feet, so you don't need to take the feet off. So maybe they had a stand of some other type. Or maybe it had to fit under a countertop and the feet were adding too much height. We'll see if I can replace them though, because otherwise the set's just sitting on the ground and the back is scraping a little bit. Alright, so there's the back. And I gotta disconnect the antenna leads. Masonite back. I believe reproductions are available. I don't know if they have the screen printing on them. So nice to have the original. And this one is in excellent condition. So they have some leads coming in here, so you can use the internal or optionally an external antenna. And this has both UHF and VHF, so it's an extra set of things to disconnect. Very nice clean back, crisp printing. No tear out on the masonite. Excellent. Alright, so that's that. Now we gotta take this strip off. And this will loosen up the controls on this. Lends access to chassis. Most of the CRTs either disconnect, like you pull out this plug here, and I think there's another one on the chassis, or perhaps it's this guy. The really tricky one is a high voltage lead going into here. I won't be able to get at that until I get the chassis pulled out further. Right now I want to work on the knobs. So, well, the UHF knob came off easily enough. Channel knob, which is not the original, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I don't know. Debutante was kind of the lowest end, not kind of, it was the lowest end set. So perhaps it didn't use the same metal knob like the Princess and Siesta. Maybe this is the correct knob, I'm not sure. And that just leaves the volume, the volume power contrast also came out very easily. Alright, put all these aside. I put down some padding and laid this set down on its face so I can get at the underside. I have a number of sheet metal screws here holding the chassis in. These are 5/16, I believe. Tuner is a separate assembly. I'm going to leave that in for now. Just disconnect the plug. So it looks like we have 4. See here where the feet were, they had like pop rivets holding them on. So I don't know why or how they ripped the feet off. It's entirely possible too that they wore off. So if I want to replace the feet, I need to break these out and then see maybe some sheet metal screws and some new hard rubber feet can be mounted on there. I think that's all the screws. Chassis, and get this on. Oh, and I'll take some photos too. It's good to take reference photos as you go along. Okay, I apologize for the dim lighting. The sun is not cooperating today. Things are loose, just there we go. Just a little bit of wire or a sleeve there to hold the CRT wiring harness in place. There's the tuner plug. Looks like that has some electrical tape wrapped around it. That is not going to be so easy to get out. It actually be heat shrink. Let's see about that. That might not be so easy. Oh, and then there's one wire. It's so easy to forget about. Which is this. This is a video out. They run that separately from the others. A little stake on the circuit board. I think that's to avoid interference. So we're almost all out. Also an RCA jack going to the tuner. So I gotta get this tuner disconnected, but now switch over to high voltage wire. So it's going around here through a hole in the back. So there's the high voltage lead and red wire coming down through there, and it goes into a hole down in there. How do we get that out? Well, you get inside this high voltage box. Provide a little trap door here, which is of some help. Still pretty darn hard to get at it though. So it comes through a hole in the back and goes down right below that 1B3. So what you need to do is very carefully get in there, pop that tube out without breaking off the high voltage lead going to the flyback, and get that lead out. Which I think I'm going to go with needle nose pliers, unless This is like the Holiday Inn pedestal chassis where you can use a nail set from below. Ooh, something else you got to pull out. The speaker connection. Well, I got lucky and just had to tug on it a little bit with my fingers and it came right out. So hopefully it's as easy for all you guys. Speaker terminals pull off the top of this audio output transformer right there. We're not done yet because there's also the control cluster power switch volume contrast, which comes down and is hardwired in. So what you need to do is get in there and take off a couple nuts, pull that control out. See if they're finger tight. Probably won't be good enough. Need to get out of socket. Yeah. I removed the two nuts holding on the front control cluster. Pulled that out. And I was wrong about the tuner. It's not heat shrink tube holding it together at all. That stays on this part. It was just on there really, really tight. Thin flat bladed screwdriver pried those two apart. And that's it. Piece of cake. So now I can take this up on the workbench and work on it. So now we can see the filter cap here and here that I removed in the other chassis. Otherwise they are identical, and this one is really filthy. Oh, another filter cap under there too. These are part of the voltage doubler. Or main B plus filter supply, I should say. 2 silicon rectifiers down in there. Alright, so great, I got it out. Now I can start working on it, but I have a problem. How do you go about testing it out while it's on the workbench? Well, you can operate it without the tuner. You certainly get a raster, and you can inject a signal into this RCA cable. I can hook up a speaker. No problem there. But what about the picture tube? Well, you can haul the chassis up on your workbench and reinstall it, or you could pull the CRT assembly off the top of the cabinet. That's probably the easiest thing to do. However, I think I've got a spare yoke and CRT assembly somewhere. If I can dig that up, I'll use it with a little test 8-inch CRT. Otherwise, I'll just pull the top off the cabinet. There's just a single Phillips screw on the collar. You take that off and the top pulls up. And I can put that on the workbench. But right now, the thing I'm going to do is start cleaning this up.